So in this segment, we're going to be talking about retailers warning of food prices rising as the cost of Brexit checks kick in. So I can't actually remember when the specific time that checks were meant to kick in the UK. I swear it's like next January. But yeah, we're going to be talking about food prices increasing potentially because of multiple problems related to Brexit. So customs declarations, sanitary checks, and increases in container costs are already causing problems for UK exports to the EU, with industry insiders warning small to medium-sized businesses which cannot cope with the additional bureaucratic costs will go bust. But now there are growing concerns that the food system will face inflationary pressure when the UK introduces its own set of checks on goods beginning October this year. So it's very soon. And the point being is that look, we will struggle when this time happens. When we have to start checking imports from the EU, I don't know if we have the staff or the border facilities. I think if we did have the staff and the border facilities, the government would be constantly talking about it. And what that means is you might have potential food shortages. I've read previously that even if there are issues with the paperwork, the government will just wave the stuff through. But I don't know how long that will last, and I genuinely don't know if we'll get sued by WTO members. So it's very precarious, the UK's position right now. In March, the government announced it was postponing checks on food imports to avoid disruption to food supplies over the summer. I mean, we were so ready and we took so much control that we couldn't actually do what France and other countries in the EU are doing because we didn't have the staff to do checks. Okay. Bit embarrassing. So Bob Doherty, Professor of Marketing and Chairman in Agri-Foods and the University of York Management School, said the cost would be problematic. That sounds very diplomatic the way he's put that. Problematic. It's going to cost money. We've already seen exports go up in price because of things like customs. Non-tariff barriers, and I think the fact that companies need an EORI number or something like that is something to do with VAT. He says, the message I'm hearing from retailers that even with a deal, EU exit is likely to be inflationary in the medium term, and suppliers should be ready to engage at pace and be prepared for different challenges, said Mr. White. And the thing is, right, the suppliers need to be prepared. But there's only so much they can do when things get bottlenecked at the ports because we don't have the customs officers ready. There's only so much they can do about that. Some retailers said they will not entertain any cost increases whether they are caused by new import-export paperwork, sanitary checks, the hurdles to get product into Northern Ireland, or increases in container costs. Well, they're going to have to increase costs because they're not going to absorb the costs, are they? So they're going to increase. Like, they can talk big here, but they're not going to do it. We've already seen retailers, certain companies refuse to export directly to Northern Ireland because of the extra costs when it comes to paperwork. So these retailers are going to have to suck it up because, either they put their prices up or they take a massive hit to profits. And that's one thing businesses hate, especially big ones, is losing profits. Richard Harlow, Chief Executive of the British Food Federation, British Frozen Food Federation, there are so many of these, has members who are already dealing with checks on Great British exports to the EU. These non-tariff barriers make doing business more expensive and complicated, he said. Gee whiz, remember when Boris Johnson Boris Johnson said there would be no non-tariff barriers, and then we have non-tariff barriers that are going to push food prices up in this country and cause potential shortages. Do you guys remember that? Because I do. Larger businesses will adapt and invest in resources to deal with the complexity. I mean, they're struggling as is. I mean, M&S have spent about 30 million dealing with this stuff, and they're only now going to start rerouting supply chains, which is pretty shocking if you ask me. However, this is the doc speaking. Oh no, this is just Richard Harlow speaking, sorry. However, my main concern is about SMEs, small medium enterprises, who are already deciding to stop sales into some EU countries because the costs outweigh the returns. You got to think that certain EU businesses will make that same calculation that all of these, non-tariff barriers are causing problems for their exports to GB. So they might stop trading with us, and you might have certain smaller producers stopping their exports because it's not worth it. It's not worth the hassle. Mr. Harlow went on to warn the impact of leaving the single market was already being felt in the UK, with many drivers having returned home and restrictions on bringing new drivers in. He's talking about, hauliers. We'll be talking about that more, the impact on farming and lorry drivers. I don't want to do loads in a video because it does get very long and gets a bit rambly. But retailers are warning about food prices going up because of Brexit. So congratulations, Brexiteers. Vote for Brexit, raise food prices. Great stuff, guys. This is going to be, she says, medium term. I think this is the new normal now. You might get better at paperwork, but you're still going to have problems. And as these checks start kicking in, we can't kick the can down the road too long, because I think eventually someone at the WTO, one of the WTO members, will sue us. If they don't, then fair play. Don't sue us, and we can carry on like this. But yeah, we go to the good doctor Anna Jaworska saying that this is because tariffs are not the only and often not even the main cost, although that depends on the sector and probably depends on the tariff as well. Probably what she meant there. Compliance with borders, and in this case SPS formalities, will for many companies be a new and significant cost and a source of friction. And these people who promise that food will be cheaper, that's simply not going to happen because of the cost of non-tariff barriers. Things like SPS checks, customs declarations, all of this stuff has a cost. You're going to have to hire admin, you're going to have to get a vet to check your products. That's expensive. Especially in the UK, that's very expensive. And, for EU companies that want to export into the UK, they're going to have to go through this. They're going to have to go through customs declarations. They're going to have to go through SPS checks. And, they might not be ready for that. I don't know if other countries have been, training up more vets to deal with this eventuality. Or, these companies might just not bother exporting to the UK. Just like certain British companies have stopped bothering exporting to the EU. But anyways, look, I'm going to leave it there. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Like, comment, share, subscribe, and hopefully I'll see you in the next one.